Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Tuesday Presents Choose Privacy Part 2. So last week was Choose Privacy Week, and I talked about creating some strong passwords, identifying cyber threats, and some other tools that can help keep you safe. And you can still access that video through our Muscatine County Library's Facebook and YouTube pages, and there's a lot to talk about on this topic, so I decided to add a part 2. So let's get started. Today, I'm going to talk about some ideological and practical reasons to choose privacy every day, how you can use your smartphone safely, how you can be cautious using public Wi-Fi, and also about a 5-day privacy plan through WNYC's Note to Self Privacy Paradox. So why choose privacy? There are some ideological and practical reasons why you might choose privacy, and you might think these are good reasons or bad reasons or not really agree with them, but they're just reasons why you might. So these are through a Medium article, and you can get the URL at the bottom if you're interested in some more information on that. But first of all, your privacy is a right you haven't always had. So also, it's a right that several countries around the world still do not have. And generations before ours fought for our right to have privacy, and knowing about that, and also knowing about the importance of how they fought for us and just taking claim to that right to privacy is something that's very important. Also, privacy is a human right. So Article 12 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states, "No one must be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation." It's a human right, just like the right to equality, to justice, freedom, and nationality, the right to religion. It is a human right to privacy. And then the third reason is having nothing to hide is not true nor really realistic. So we don't want to confuse privacy with secrecy. They're not the same. So, we all know what goes on in the bathroom for the most part, but we still close the door. That's because you want privacy, not necessarily secrecy. And you have a passcode or some sort of security on your phone. Same goes for email. And nobody ever handed me their phone to allow me to read all their chats and see all their photos. And if you don't have anything to hide, then you wouldn't care. But you do, and everybody does. And that's because privacy is something that makes us human. So those are some ideological reasons. Now for the practical reasons. So these are practical. Information in the wrong hands becomes dangerous. So you may be okay with the government agencies or security agencies or even companies having your private information, and you may trust Google and Facebook. But what if these get hacked or information falls into the wrong hands, which this happens, it has happened, probably happen in the future. So, let's say someone's targeting your family or your company, would you still be okay with all the information being out there? It's just something to think about, to keep your privacy. Also, you can't predict the future. So right now, you might not have a lot to risk if you're younger, but maybe 30 or 40 years from now, let's say you're running for political position or administration of a public company. So it's also part of the integrity of your company. And can you imagine what it's like to have your company torn apart because of something you said in a conversation 5 or 10 years ago? Or what would it be like to lose your job because of a conversation you just had with a friend or a husband or wife? Also, your private life out of context becomes a weapon. So like we've all joked with friends about things that we consider sensitive, but among friends, it's something we all do. In fact, our behavior changes depending on people we're with. So I bet you could find something offensive you said in a group chat that you have with your closest friends, and that's because they're your friends and it was a joke or a sarcastic remark. But if you take it out of context, it's no longer a joke. And what would happen if this joke fell into the hands of someone trying to harm you? And then lastly, your information does have value. So a company like Facebook or Google allows you to upload unlimited data to their servers for free. So what's their business model? How do they make so much money? And I've said this before, and I've heard it somewhere. If the product's free, then you are the product. They're selling your information. But they never asked you if you wanted to sell your information. And if someone asked you in person 100 questions about your personal life to sell it, would you answer them? Probably not, right? But we let this happen every time we use a service that makes money selling our information. So with that said, we're going to talk about some smartphone safety that will keep us safe. So how many of you have a cell phone or a smartphone or know someone who does? Can I get a show of hands? There's nobody here, but I imagine a lot of people do. So they're amazing tools that have enabled us to have the entirety of human knowledge in our pockets. So for many of us, they become a critical part of our everyday lives. And we use them to get directions, check our email, take photos of our family, pay bills, cash checks, and do online shopping. And these devices have our most sensitive personal information on them, which makes them prime targets for attackers. So we can talk about ways to keep your smartphone information safe. So let's talk about some security settings. And we don't have time today to go over individual devices and help you set up your security settings. But here pretty soon, we're going to be having a book a Techspert where you can call in and book an hour appointment over the phone, and we can talk you through some of these settings that you may want to set up with your phone. So first of all, you want to enable a screen lock password. Fingerprint and facial ID are really the best choice, but otherwise you can use a 6-digit PIN. That will be another good choice. Also, you want to enable a password in any apps with sensitive information. So definitely like your bank account, if you have any health apps, or your email. Also, you want to update software and apps regularly. That way they'll run smoothly, and they'll get those updates will keep them up to date. And also you want to set up iCloud or a device manager for your device, and that will also help them run smoothly, and anything they've made changes to, they'll keep up with that. So next we'll talk about some app settings. So smartphone apps are often hungry for all of your information, and companies will require access to a lot of different things in order to gain data about how you use your phone. So don't give these apps an all-access pass to your information. On both Android and iOS, you can look at each app individually and decide what information you are comfortable giving access. So does your calculator need to see your entire contact list? Does your music app need to know your location? Go through each app individually and turn on or off permissions. Now remember, some apps do need certain permissions to function. So if you don't give Instagram permission to access your photos, then you can't upload photos to the app. So think about what makes sense for the purpose of that particular app, and only give permission to access those pieces of information. Only download apps from authorized Google Play or Apple's App Store. If you don't feel comfortable with the permissions an app requires, don't use it. That's the best rule. Also, with your location settings, they refer to what applications are allowed to know where your phone is. So some apps will only use your location while you're logged into them, while others will have access even when the app is not open on your phone. So remember, we just discussed paying close attention when you download an app to what permissions it asks for. If you are uncomfortable allowing an app to access the information, don't download it. Think about what apps need to know where you are located. So it is useful for your map application, but may not be needed for Gardenscapes or Candy Crush. Apps often use this information to send you targeted advertising. So having your location turned on can always mean if someone gains access to your phone, they will know where you are too. So it's recommended to turn the settings so that apps can only use your location when you are using them. There are not many apps that need to know where you are when they're not in use. So that's a good rule to think about. Next, we'll talk about how to use free Wi-Fi spots.
People use public Wi-Fi all the time, at a coffee shop, in a hotel lobby, or while waiting at the airport. However, there are many security dangers that lurk on public Wi-Fi networks. Data sent through public Wi-Fi networks can easily be intercepted by cybercriminals. If you use a public Wi-Fi, your personal data could be at risk. A common danger is fake public Wi-Fi networks. These have similar sounding names to legitimate public Wi-Fi networks and are meant to trick and confuse you. Once you connect to this fake Wi-Fi network, everything you do online is monitored by cybercriminals who scan your activity for banking and social media login information. Public Wi-Fi connections can also be used to distribute malware. Cybercriminals can easily plant viruses and other malicious software onto your computer via an unsecure Wi-Fi connection, causing serious damage to your computer and jeopardizing your personal information. Luckily, there are ways to stay safe on public Wi-Fi. 1. Verify your connection. Be sure to ask an employee what the actual public Wi-Fi is to avoid connecting to a bogus network. 2. Avoid checking sensitive data. Unless it's absolutely necessary, hold off on logging into your social media, email, and especially financial accounts while on public Wi-Fi. 3. Turn off sharing. Be sure to turn off sharing while you're on public Wi-Fi. If you leave it on while in a public place, cybercriminals can easily gain access to sensitive personal information and files. 4. Use a VPN. If you need to check sensitive data like your banking account while on public Wi-Fi, use a virtual private network or a VPN. Even if a cybercriminal positions himself in the middle of your connection, your data will be strongly encrypted. 5. Turn your Wi-Fi off when you're done. Even if you haven't actively connected to a network, the Wi-Fi hardware in your computer can still be transmitting data with any network in range. If you are through using the internet, ensure that your Wi-Fi is turned off. Understanding public Wi-Fi risks will ensure your important data doesn't fall into malicious hands. Follow these tips and stay protected with a trusted internet security software in order to stay safe on public Wi-Fi.
Okay, so that's just telling you about how to use public Wi-Fi. Also, if you're interested in learning more about VPNs, you can go to San Jose's Public Library blog post at the URL at the bottom. Okay, next is note to selves, the privacy paradox. So what is the privacy paradox? It's WNYC's, it's a podcast. It's a 5-day series of challenges with newsletters and mini podcasts that will help you take back control over your personal information and digital identity. It's also the term behavioral economists use to describe the disconnect between our feelings about digital privacy, so we value it, and then how we act online, we give privacy away. So you can also discover your privacy behavior through a privacy quiz. So there's different types of privacy behaviors that you could be. And if you're interested in that, the URL is at the bottom, and you will sign up and put your email in there, and they will send you an email every day for 5 days to do different challenges that will help you stay more safe and get back your digital identity. That's all I have for you today. So just to finish off, just remember we have to care about our privacy, and the risks are many. And then also there's a lot of tools available that can help a lot, and a lot of them are free, so that's great. And please don't be afraid. just take action. And the more safe you can be to use those tools to take action, then the less fear you can have about it and the more knowledgeable you can be. Okay, so thank you. And everyone have a wonderful day. Please leave any comments if you have any questions, or if you have any other topics you're interested in. I'd love to hear it. Okay, a wonderful day.